Also.
And you may say that the Fonz is a very generous guy, but I think where you want to play certainly in my heart, and I think the hearts of Americans, when you took the DeBolts, who are the DeBolts and why do they have 19 children, you showed us that Henry Winkler really does care about human beings, and I don't know whether you feel that it's incumbent to take the Fonz and its success and really be able to reach people and do it the right way or not?
That didn't dawn on me. I went to England on my honeymoon. We watched television, because I like to watch television, and we watched television in the hotel room, and it was eclectic. I mean, everything was on British television. There was room for everything. And I thought to myself, there's got to be the same on American TV. And then I saw this documentary, Who Are the DeBolts, where they get 19 kids. It was turned down by all 3 networks. So I then made it my mission to get it on the air because it was so uplifting and so incredible to see these physically challenged human beings living a great, wonderful, purposeful life. So that's why I got that on the air. Okay. I have 3 children. I have a stepson who's 13. He has a mouth the size of Wyoming.
That's Jed. How old was he when you inherited him? When you married?
4. He was 4, and he was great. Now I have Zoe, who's 4, and Zoe says, "Dad, excuse me, Dad, could we discuss God? I mean, not the, oh my God, when you put your hand to your face, but the God that lives up with heaven and space." So I got Zoe, who's 4, going on 35. And I have Max, who is 1, who doesn't crawl. He starts to crawl, and he says, "No, bring it to me. Just bring it over." No, you know. And so I have these 3 children. Abduction and sexual abuse have been around for a very long time. They are now in the news. I wanted them to know how to protect themselves. I wanted them to know what a little bit of that is so that they could not be fooled. And there is on the tape, we made this tape. I have the tape. I show the tape, Henry. It's called Strong Kids, Safe Kids. It's to be bought and seen at home with the family. This is for the parents because it's a very difficult subject to talk about.
The message is a way to prevent and alert kids to possible child abuse.
That's right.
Before we look at a clip, one question.
Yes.
When you were going through all of this, did you ever think, gee, you know, it means that I have to take my children and take off the rose-colored glasses about life and really give them words of reality?
Be more realistic.
How do you feel about that as a parent?
I'll tell you exactly how I feel about that. Key McFarlane, who is a terrific psychologist who is working with children now in L.A. that have been abused, and she's been doing it for years. She says, "I'd rather take a little bit of the innocence away than to see what has happened to hundreds and hundreds of children that come into my office. If you try to put these children back together again, they will never be the same." My daughter has asked to watch this tape. It is a non-threatening tape, and yet it is respectful. Very important that parents become askable parents. That we talk about how to listen to your child, and children, tell your parents what is on your mind.
A yucky secret is a lot like getting a splinter in your finger. You may not be able to see it, and nobody else may be able to see it, but you know it's there, and it's going to keep on hurting until you can get it out. It's the same way with these kind of secrets.
That's why you have to tell someone so they can help you out.
Even if you tried the very best you could and something happens anyway, it is not your fault. I promise you, it is not your fault. And that's the most important time to tell somebody, right after something has happened.
Always tell someone you trust. Don't keep it to yourself.
You can't always stop an adult from touching you in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable. That's why you always, 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 always have to tell somebody so they can help you out.
It is a very difficult subject. We are all embarrassed. You know, when you talk about the parts of your body, your daughter comes in and says, "Oh, Dad, what's that?" No matter how together you are or you think you are, you come unglued. And we are all in the same boat. Nobody has it over anybody else.
So are you telling parents then, Henry, to say it's okay to express the fact that you might be a bit uncomfortable? Say to your child, this isn't easy for either of us to talk about, but your body's a very private thing.
That's right. Well,
I've been thinking about the number of times I've made excuses for not saying things that I think are very important to say to my children. Kids, you should hear it from a mom. We grown-ups find all kinds of reasons to not talk to you about important things. Here are some of those reasons. Knowledge is harmful.
Ignorance is harmful, not knowledge.
Oh, they're not old enough to understand.
That's one of the biggest myths of all. I've talked to 2-year-olds who understand exactly the difference between different kinds of touching. In fact, some of the youngest children that I've heard describe sexual abuse are the ones who know best what's happened to them.
I'm embarrassed.
Who isn't when they're talking about sex? It's okay to be embarrassed. That doesn't mean you have to be paralyzed.
And it doesn't mean you have to really be explicit. Does the tape teach the verbiage to use?
Well, there is one song which is directly about the parts of the body, because if, God forbid, something happens, the child needs to know how to tell somebody. So yes, we talk about the parts of the body, and then we say, you don't have to use these words. You know, you can call it anything you want, but these are the very correct words to use to describe it to somebody.
I would like once again to hear this, but also Good Morning America, I wanted to let you know, is doing a very special 2 hours on October 11th, devoted to child abuse, 2 full hours. And on the 10th, we'll carry some of that via satellite and let you know about it. But it's a subject we need to know so much about.
And the thing is, I don't mean to interrupt you, it's when the child hears some of this stuff that we have on the tape, they then know if they hear it in the street, like, come here, you want a pussycat? You want a little cat? Right in my car. Come in my car and I'll give you this pussycat. You can take it home, this little kitty. We tell them this is a trick. This is a trick. You do not get into a car.